Hello, I'm Lucy from Treacher Makeup Artistry, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to sculpt this dogwood flower that can be made into a flat plate mould and then into a prosthetic. Before I start, here are the things you're going to need. A tile, some clay, preferably NSP clay as it's sulphur free and won't affect the curing time of the silicone when it comes to moulding. You're also going to need some talcum powder and a fluffy brush, some plastic, a reference picture, and an assortment of sculpting tools. When you're ready to start sculpting, the first stage is to make a base. This base will determine the size of the prosthetic, and to do this simply press some clay onto the tile and then scrape off any excess with a loop tool so that it's nice and smooth and flat. Then, once you're happy with your base, you want to make the centre of the flower. To do this, simply make a ball and press it onto the base. Then, around the centre, mark out where each petal will be going. By rolling out small sheets of clay, you can then press these onto the base and then cut out the shape of the petal. Start with one and then you can repeat this process on the other three, using your first one as a guide. Once you're happy with the shape of each petal, you can then make the flower more three-dimensional. To do this, just add a blob of clay under each petal and pinch the end to make a crease. This will make each petal sit up and off the tile. Once your flower is looking more three-dimensional, you can then use a small loop tool to start refining the shape more. To do this, you can start carving out some more of the clay out of the centre to make a more concave shape. Then you can start to take some of the weight off the sides to create the effect that the flower is embedded in the skin. The loop tool can also be used to soften the petals and create a more rounded shape. For texturing, start by doing the flower texture before skin. To do this, just carve some lines through some plastic. This makes the lines shallow and not too harsh. By varying the pressure of your hand, you can create deeper lines and more shallow lines, creating a more realistic effect. Repeat this process of carving out lines, and make sure you follow the shape of the petals. Once you're happy with the texture of the flower, you can then start to add some skin texture. To do this, simply use a rake tool and scratch wavy and straight lines across the whole sculpt to create a crosshatch effect. Then, using a toothbrush, massage the clay to then soften the texturing you've just done, as well as help it all kind of blend together. In between each layer of texture, apply a layer of talcum powder. This not only helps soften the clay, but also helps show you the texturing that you've just done. Repeat this process of carving out lines and massaging the clay with a toothbrush, and then applying a layer of talcum powder until you're happy with the overall texture. When you're happy with the petals, you can then start to work on the centre of the flower. To do this, I just made small balls of clay that I then pressed in the centre, and using lighter fluid, I blended them all together to create a more uniform shape. I then melted some clay, surprisingly in a teaspoon, and then I added blobs that vary in shape and size as well as height to create a more realistic look. Once I was happy with the final texture, I then gave it one final sweep of talcum powder. And then here is the final sculpt. I then moulded it into a flat plate mould, and then here it is as a prosthetic applied on my model's face. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped a little, and happy sculpting.